What is up guys, Vortex here, and today I'm going to be showcasing you a game between me playing Justimon Blitzarm with the new BT-10 support and my opponent playing Gaiomon. And you might know this player. A lot of people on the channel has complained about him playing the black variant. Well, now he's playing red variant. So I hope you guys are happy now. You've bullied him into it. So we get straight into the game. He starts off with an Agumon and then plays a Nokia. And then I start to build my stack. I go into Sunriser and then Strike-Dramon. I was tempted not to go into the Strike-Dramon here just so I can get a search of Tamer. But in this situation I just kind of wanted to get prepared for a level 5 and a level 6. He plays Cool Boy and gets an Agumon X antibody. He promotes, earlier in the turn, he promotes into the Greymon for essentially 0 cost, which is great. And then he ends his turn by going to a Tai Kamiya. So he's obviously showcasing that he has potentially a one-turn kill happening. So I got to really answer this. So what I ended up doing here is going into the Voltramon. Unfortunately, it's the only level 5 I had in my hand, and then I go to Justimon Blitzarm and I delete the Greymon. One of the when digivolving effects of the Justimon is that I can delete 5 costs or less, and thankfully the level 4 Greymon is cost of 5, so we take that for sure. So at this moment I've got a really big stack going. I have security attack +1, potentially +2 if you play something out due to the Voltramon. I have a Kazu in play. I also gain a memory if I play another Tamer. So I'm looking pretty good here. So I hatch another rare, go into the Hotmon, then the Sunriser. And now I'm just considering what I want to do. So I play a Rio here to reveal top 4 to get a Dramon. Get a Mono Dramon here. I still think this card's very strong. I know people don't like playing it, but I think just getting a search for all black Tamers is really important. And so I swing with the Justimon. The first thing I do is unsuspend itself, cannon up the DP basically. I think this is around 15. Does 2 swings. I don't use the Rio. And now I use both of the effects, so I get to draw and discard and get an additional 1k DP. So I discard a Tankmon there. Then I'm going to do it because I hit into a War Greymon. And I don't know what that card is. I think it's another Greymon-esque card. I'm not too sure. But I avoid that. And so I end the turn by digivolving into Strike-Dramon and then a Cyber-Dramon in raising. So if he does somehow get rid of my Justimon, which is very likely, I'm able to have an answer for the next turn. Having double Tamer here is actually very important as well, because it basically forces him to have the Black War Greymon and to delete the Tamers, which is a very pivotal thing in this matchup actually. So I just read to see what the effect does, and he was a bit uncertain if he can do it, but it was perfectly fine. I was just checking to see, because I don't know if it still counts as the name of what was it, Metal Greymon. So I was just checking this. I'm pretty sure it was anyways, but it doesn't really matter, because the relevant effect here is the secure attack +1. So then he goes straight into the Gaiomon for 2 cost. I'm not too sure why. I think we're just calculating what's going on here. Again, I was just checking this to see if I can reduce the cost, because I thought it might be in name, but it works, I think. I'm not too sure. Let me know in the comments down below. But he digivolves my Volcanomon. And now I was just thinking, what does he want to swing into? I think he should swing into the stack, because it lowers the chance of potential lethal next turn, and I believe he has the blocker, so he's not really risking much here. Yeah, he doesn't get the security, but he controls the board, so, and he also has blocker and reboot, so maybe a misplay here. And then he plays the red memory boost. Added an Agumon here, the X antibody, and so I go back up unsuspend everything, and I draw for turn. I promote the Digimon. I know he has one blocker, so it's just a case if I have a hybrid, I swing a security, just using the effects to cycle, see if I can get the hybrid. He blocks it. Obviously that's supposed to die, and then I believe I have the Grumblemon for game. Okay, and so we get into game 2 now. First game was kind of like a blowout on my part. I feel like Justimon should never be in a situation where I'm that far ahead, especially against like an actual meta deck. And so he decides to go first, gets the Black War Greymon, and he through the red memory boost. So go into the Sunrisermon here. And then I go into the Tankmon for 1. I actually like Tankmon on this list, just due to the fact that it allows me to memory choke a lot more easier in this deck, because usually you're evolving into free costs and the higher end, and that's it, and all your tamers cost free primarily, so it's a nice controlling tool. So he passes a turn by going to Greymon. I just promote and go into the Cyberdramon. I then get to play the Rio again from hand. I add nothing because there is no Dramon card. He then promotes and gets 2 memory due to trashing. Digivolves the Tankmon. I think this was a misplay on my behalf. Maybe I shouldn't have pushed this up, because now it just opens me up to Black War Greymon, which is something that's really going to hurt me here. Wasn't really thinking about it. So he goes into the Metal Greymon, swings that to, into the Tankmon because he can attack unsuspended, and then he goes into the Black War Greymon, deleting both of my tamers. So at this point, I'm very well aware that I have lost this game. I've lost all control, and this is probably one of the worst matchups actually in the current format-ish. This in between BT-9 and BT-10, because the ability to delete all my free cost tamers is really powerful, and especially deleting 2. And if you know Justimon, it relies on tamers being in play, so not great at all. He just ends his turn by going into a tie. He's being very smart about this, obviously. Like, he knows that if he swings into security and I get a tamer, I potentially get to go off more here. So he's just limiting my plays, basically. Play the mono, don't get any tamers from the mono, so that's very unfortunate, but I think at this point I was just like, well, can't really do much. And so what he ends up doing is deleting the mono, gets to unsuspend because I think a Digimon was deleted. I believe that's the effect. I could be completely wrong. He ends up playing a red memory boost, has a Def X, which I was like, oh my god, what is this list? Very powerful, obviously, to have that. But he then, I believe, just checking out his stack, he goes into the Gaiomon for 2, has Blitz here, so he gets to swing at security. A lot of security swings here. I do get the black memory boost, but I think at this point, I'm pretty sure it's just safe to say that I can't really deal with this Gaiomon, and so I scoop the game up. And so we get into game 3, and I believe I'm going to start this game off because I need all the advantage I can get in this matchup. So I hatch, get into the Hotmon. I'm actually a little bit indifferent about the Hotmon here. Like, the extra DP does definitely help, but I'm also thinking of just playing Pagumon because I feel like the consistency is a lot more better, especially when you're looking for particular pieces such as the Cyberdramons, which really helps you with your plays, and also the Justimons themselves. So for my turn, I just end up going into the Tankmon and going into the Mono, or no, just playing the Monodramon here. He promotes, he gets the Agumon X antibody and Callboy draw a memory. Obviously in a really strong position, you don't want to see anyone with free memory in this game state because it allows them to go straight into their level 5, and that's problematic sometimes. He does end up going into a Greymon security at +1. Really powerful, obviously. and he's just considering what he wants to do now. Does he hold off until the next turn to get the Core Boy off? But he goes into the Metal Greymon, instantly getting rid of my Monodramon. So I promote, and then I go into the Cyberdramon here, looking, and I don't have a Tamer. And this is basically what happens when you don't find the specific, I wouldn't say specific cards, but the cards you need, unfortunately, in this deck. You get to this point where you can't actually answer anything, and as your deck is built around Tamers, you need to have them, and if you don't have them, you're screwed. So in this situation, I had to pass. He then gets to start off his turn, go straight into an Agu and then X antibody Agu. Considering what he wants to do now, I think at this point I was just like, yeah, like I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I think my opponent here was just like, oh yeah, you don't get the Core Boy from raising. I'm like, nope, that would be insane. That would be, just imagine if that was actually a thing. That'd be insane. Then he goes into the red memory boost, and then he gets to go off a little bit here. So he gets some additional memory for the next following turn, which he'll definitely need for the Black War, and then into the Gaio. And so he goes into the Greymon to finish off his turn, giving me 2. I go into the Toy Agu. At this point, like, I'm just not finding things, and I need to cycle a lot. So I have the level 5 here. As you can see, I just look at the top card of my deck. This is like, obviously this is in tournament. Do not do this, but we're pretty good friends. So, and I already told him, like, yeah, like I already know I've lost here. So, yeah, he digivolves my Cyberdramon, and then he's just looking at like making big stacks because I can't answer him very well. And so he gets the Black Hole Greymon and gets to delete my Tankmon because it's a cost of 6, which is very unfortunate. And so here I'm just like, I'm a little bit frustrated, obviously, because I'm just pointing out like this card just like wins in the matchup, because like how am I supposed to answer it in this situation? And the answer is you don't. So I end up playing a Toy Agumon here and then go into a Strike Dramon to look at the top four cards. No Tamers. So as you can see, I'm having a really good game here. He then hatches again, gets to Digivolve more and more, which is obviously, you know, what you need to do in this matchup. You know, get that advantage, keep on pressuring as much as you can. And again, he's playing this very smart. Like, he understands that the only way he loses is that if he attacks into security, hits a massive thing, or, you know, gives me lots of Tamers on a following turn. So at this point, he was just like, oh yeah, like, I'm doing this, you know, for, you know, to be safe. And I was like, yeah, it makes sense. I just showed with 2 Justice kicks in my hand. He'd just be like, yep, it's not doing very well here. You know, all good fun here. So he's cleared 4 security. He then attacks into the Voltramon and then goes into the Structuramon. I look at the top card of my security, and he ends his turn by going Cool Boy. I look at my opening hand and then I scoop.